Alright everyone, I think I'm live, so let me just double check, make sure everything's working properly. And yes, okay. So, just checking the stream and making sure everything seems smooth before we begin. Okay, everything seems good. Alright, so we're going to be doing something very cool. We're going to be doing something really cool, and we're going to be making an abstract design, and I've been working on this for a while, for the past hour or so, maybe 2 hours. And yeah, I didn't want to show the whole thing because it can be boring, but I'm just going to break this down and improve it further, and I will be showing you guys the whole process. So, let's begin. And before I do that, we're in cycles, and if you guys have any questions during this, please feel free to ask them, any comments, and I'll answer. So yeah, so let's see how the render looks and see where we are. Okay, so what I'm doing is that this is going to take a while because I'm using very, very high subdivision levels, like insanely high. Because I have found that adaptive subdivision doesn't work well, and instead I just use the subdivision modifier, and this is how it looks so far. So I basically gave the camera, where is it? Let me find it. A large depth of field, and obviously that could be lowered to something like 0.1, which really is a little over the top, so I'm going to just put that back to 0.3. And this is pretty interesting, but I want to take it further. So let me show you guys a breakdown of how I created all this geometry here. So this is not too complex. So it's just a lot of modifiers, basically, that I stacked up. And what I did is I arrayed... So actually, let me do this separately, just to make it a little easier to understand. So I'm going to put a cube here. And what I did is I basically used an array modifier. Then I separated it by 1.2. 1.2. And I just put a lot of them next to each other like that. And then I moved it down. Another array modifier. Same thing, but in the y direction. Or negative, it doesn't really matter. And then I just put the count up. So that takes us to the cubes, but how did I get to here? So what I did to get that look, kind of looks like a building, like a procedural building, but not exactly. It's a little different, but it's kind of the concept. And I actually have another modifier I'm going to be applying to this in this video, and you guys will be able to see it. We'll see how it works. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but we will see. So anyway, so I applied the array modifier, then I did subdivision. So I'm going to put the subdivision modifier in and use simple, and I set that to a level of 3. Actually, this should be the same as the viewport. So now when I subdivide this, nothing really happens. You can see nothing's happening, and that's because after I do that, it's subdividing the geometry. Actually, I'm not sure if I could... I'm not sure how to view that. I know there is a way. But anyway, this is subdivided, but it's not smoothing out the mesh, so that's important. And then after that, what I applied is... let me see why this array modifier That should be before. And then I applied a wireframe modifier, which I'm going to put on now. So that's that. And that wireframe modifier, I gave it a certain thickness, which was 0.025. Okay. And then we're kind of getting to that parametric geometry building concept. So this is called generating geometry using modifiers, which it's really cool. And you could change the offset, but I'm just going to leave that. Now, let's see, I have to find the correct option here. Aha, that's what's going on. So make sure that replace original is not checked. And now you see we're kind of getting the concept right, but it still doesn't look the same as here. So what you want to do after that, since modifiers are always read from top to bottom, it's extremely important to make sure your modifier stack is in the correct order. If something is not in the correct order, like let's say you bring the wireframe above the array, then things will just not work because it's not applying it in the right chronological order. Remember that modifiers are always read top to bottom. So after that, what I applied is a build modifier, and I'm going to find that, and now everything disappears. But the amazing setting is this randomize setting. So you could change the start frame, and this gives really, really neat results. And it kind of just builds up your geometry. It's really cool. So I'm going to pull that back. You can bring it way down so that just a few windows maybe are missing. Or you could bring it up a little bit more. Let's see, I pulled that way down too much. So I'm going to just scroll right until things start breaking down again. Sorry about that. There we go. So yeah, that's that modifier, which is really good. And let's see what value I used for this. I used negative 37, so negative 40 is close enough. And then what else you could do is you could do additional things on top of this. Like, I don't know, maybe solidify. I'm not really sure what would happen. But you can always try things and see what happens. Like this might not be the best effect, but I don't know, kind of looks like broken, like old, like metallic materials. I can't, it's like, not really sure. But it's pretty cool abstract geometry. Let's see what else we could do here. Remesh. Oh yeah, that's interesting. I don't even know what you call that. It's almost more organic, but and then after that you could go after and apply, like, let's say a solidify modifier on top of that, and that would be interesting. So let me just find that solidify. Now that's cool, because you can bring up the thickness. And let me just make sure the scale is all applied, because I think things are not working. Yeah, now it's working as I expected. And you could see that it's just kind of, not really sure what this would be, but it's definitely interesting to see the kind of patterns you can get, especially by adjusting these settings. So, like, this is voxel remesh, and if you bring this down like to 0.05, definitely get some really cool stuff. Like, look at 0.025. It's almost recreating the original geometry, but in a very, very cool and abstract way. And this is really powerful, because you could then solidify that, and let's just see how that looks. And there's a lot of experimentation. You don't always know what things are going to do. So let's just try, like, I don't know, like 0.1. Wow, that is certainly a cool effect. Yeah, kind of looks like a computer chip, maybe. And then you could bring the thickness down, see what we get. Yeah, that is really, really cool. And I'm actually going to be placing this on the middle of this one, so I want to get something interesting here. Let me see if I bring that remesh to smooth. Okay, that's not what I'm going for exactly. Then there's sharp. There is smooth here, which can go up higher. But then, of course, things slow down a little bit. Huh. That is... I'm not really sure what that would be, to be honest. Yeah. Let's just go back to voxel. I'm happy with voxel. I don't want to spend too much time on this part. But I want to see what else we can get here. So we could do another thing, like, let's see, something like, trying to think, because there's all sorts of stuff you can do. First of all, I think I'm going to do a bevel modifier because the edges kind of look sharp and not smooth. So I'm going to put that in, and of course it's going to slow things down. If it crashes, I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to skip that. Oh, there it goes. And yeah, that kind of... it's not really doing much. It's slowing things down, so I'm going to skip that one. Yeah, I'm not going to use that. Could try subdivision. Again, got to be careful though, that you don't slow things down too much. Keep it on a low setting. And that's low. That'll load up, hopefully. And if you, yeah, there it goes. And that definitely smoothed everything out, so I'm going to keep that. And if you click on it and right click, I can click on Shade Smooth. That looks really cool. So, yeah, let me try one more thing here before we start going on to the other part, and that would be, well, first of all, for the viewport, I think I might turn the subdivisions off because they are going to slow down the whole stack. But for the render, it'll be on, and I will also try doing the... I think I'm going to do something really crazy, like the lattice modifier. I was thinking about this. I thought, okay, let's try this. It's a little complex of an effect, but it's really going to look very cool. And I'll show you guys exactly what goes into this. So, let's see. Would I do origin to geometry? Probably that's the right option here. But of course it's an array, so I may have to apply the array modifiers. but I think I could do it without that. So I'm going to rotate this by 90. RX 90. And surprisingly, everything is really smooth. I'm having no performance issues, even with this mesh here, subdivided all the way to 14. Yes, you've heard that correct. This mesh is actually subdivided 10 in one modifier and another 4 in another. So this is like insanely subdivided. And that's just to bring out tons and tons and tons of detail. Because I've tried micro displacement with this setting, but it just crashed. And I found that this is much more stable. And even on a computer with 16 gigabytes of RAM, it crashed. I need either more RAM or I just do it this way. For some reason, I can achieve the same results as micro displacement this way, and using the material nodes here as I can with the dicing rate and the micro displacement setting in cycles. So yeah, I found that I can achieve just as much detail doing it without getting crashes, which is very important. So if your computer can't handle the experimental setting here, just disable it and just raise up your subdivision count instead to an extreme amount, and that will work better. So this is what we got. Let's go into the render, just so we got an idea of what we're working with. And it's going to take its time because obviously the mesh is subdivided like crazy, and I am getting an out of memory error, so just for this, I know it works at the render time, but just for this, I'm actually going to wind up lowering down the viewport here, subdivision count, to 13, and that should be fine. And it's loading in, everything works, and you can see that, yeah, we got a lot going on. So let's go to the camera. And we got our scene here. Now what I was thinking about doing is kind of projecting this into a cylinder shape, giving it a metal texture, doing all sorts of cool things. Not sure how it's going to work out. Instead, I may give it an emission texture. So let's just try something here quickly. Let's see what we can get. So I'm going to bring in just an emission shader, see how it looks. We may change things later on. So I can bring that to blue. And that certainly looks interesting. Let me see that at like 10. No, it's too strong. Oh wow. Oh, okay. I thought I had 2. I don't know why it did that. And I'm thinking about something like this, like just almost like an abstract UI design. Thought it looked interesting, but obviously this just looks too flat. I need to get some more like depth to it. So, yeah, and actually what I'm going to wind up doing is duplicating that. Viewport is a little bit slow. So, there it goes. And RZ 90. And just for the viewport speed, I'm going to actually lower down the subdivision level even more, because I don't really need to see the micro displacement on here right now. That's just for the render, but we're going to be fixing this here. So I'm going to move that down. And maybe I'm not really happy with the colors exactly. That kind of looks cool. I feel like this scene though is there's too much going on. Maybe I should like bring that up. Let's see what we got here. So it's I don't like the material. Not happy with the material, so I'm going to change things around here. And instead I'm just going to put a principled, and maybe I will, yeah, that looks a little better, but things have to be changed here. So I'm going to bring the color maybe to blue, and make it fully metallic. Bring the roughness down to like 0.1. Now I think I'm getting something that I really kind of like. And I think what I'm going to do is change the colors possibly. And for now I'm going to turn off the depth of field just so I can see things better. More clearly, and I'm going to turn on the denoiser for the viewport just so I get a better preview. So denoising viewport, and that is much more helpful so I can really see how things are looking. So I think that I'm not really too happy with this, so I'm gonna change things more. Kind of am liking the green, but I also like the silver too. What do you guys think? I'm thinking the silver's better. It's just more fits the mood of the scene kind of, and just complements things better, and it also creates these nice reflections. So I'm thinking I'm going to leave it on the silver. Yeah. And let's just see how things change. Okay, something odd is going on here. Oh. I'm changing the wrong material. Ah, there we go. Okay. So I accidentally was changing the wrong material. So I'm going to bring that up and leave that as silver. Pure silver. Let's just see what slightly blue looks like. That could look kind of cool. But I think I'm going to just leave it to how it was before, as the silver. Yeah. Alright, so that is certainly looking great, I think. And what I want to do actually is maybe duplicate this one time. Okay, and now the viewport is a little slow again, but it's okay, I think. And RY90 on the viewport. Just gonna get that positioned well. View through the camera. Scale this way down. How do I do that? It's like this. And let's take a look at that. Kind of trying to get a lot of fine details. But I don't want to overdo it either. I might put that actually over here. Let's let that load. That certainly looks interesting here. Let me scale that down. That looks pretty cool. Okay, so I think I found something I'm pretty happy with. Let me put this down on the tops of them, and I can just increase the array by a lot. And one thing I noticed is I don't need the subdivisions, as it would just make the render time go crazy. So yeah, I'm going to turn off the subdivision. I don't think I'm going to need it for this. And I'm going to array like 10 of them, I think. And maybe just to speed things up a little bit further, I could turn down the subdivision level. And actually, I like the way that looks better. So I think I'm going to leave that. I'm going to put that back down to like 8. Just waiting for things to respond better here. But it seems like everything's working okay. So I'm going to move that this way. And I'm going to put this one to like 20. Because that's this direction, I believe. Yes. There it goes. And now I'm just going to duplicate that. It's a little slow, but that's okay. Got a lot of geometry here. There it goes. RZ negative RZ 90. And then move it on the y-axis. And there it goes. So I'm going to move that this way. And now that gives us that fine, fine detail that will look really, really just kind of cool and kind of fit in. Yeah, wow. That certainly looks pretty cool. And now it's all about lighting. And I'm going to change my lighting a lot here, because lighting in the 3D scene is everything, and I can't emphasize that enough. If you have bad lighting, nothing's gonna ever look good in 3D. So lighting is extremely important. You need backlights and front lights, and let's see how that looks. I'm going to turn that light up to like 15,000. Maybe a little bit too much. And, whoop, it crashed. No big deal. As long as I got autosave here. Yep, it got it. And let me just resize my window. There it goes. Okay, so did I lose stuff? I lost some steps. Let me see if I can recover that. I might not be able to, so I'm gonna have to redo that. That's alright though. So we'll just duplicate that. There it goes, and I'll move down the x-axis, RZ, RZ 90. And I'll move that there. Again, gonna reposition the lights like before. And to stop it from crashing, I think I could just disable the subdivision on this entirely. Won't get any the displacement effects, but that'll be enabled at the render. So now there's no chance it's gonna crash. And let me move that light over to this way. And to put some contrast in the lighting, I'm going to turn this up. And this one could be 10,002. There things go. Now, yeah, this is running properly now. Let me view from the camera. Yes, everything's working perfectly. And you know what? Let's see if I change these colors of this one. That's odd, it always crashes there. Not sure why that's happening. I think it's my computer. I've noticed things have crashed often on this computer. Luckily, I will be getting a new one soon. Because it's really a pain when things crash. And I apologize about that. Alright, so it kept everything, which is great. And so I'm just going to change the colors before I even start the render, because I know it might crash. So actually undo that. Okay, it's taking a lot of time. There it goes. And you know what? I might have I'm gonna get rid of that solidify modifier. I also don't need this one. And you know what? I can also take down the array levels, because if we view through the camera, most of them are not visible. So I could take the count way down. And this should improve the viewport performance a lot. So let's just optimize this to be faster. Because for some reason on this computer, it never happened to me on any other computer. It crashes when I have a lot of modifiers. And it's strange too. Very strange. So let me bring down that levels here. Just something more like that. And this one also doesn't need that many. I think as long as the camera can see everything. And yes, everything looks great. Let's go back to camera. And this should run faster. Hopefully. Somewhat, seems like. Yeah. Okay, it was freezing there a second, but it seems to be running fine now. So I'm going to join these meshes up. That speeds things up too, not having so many separate objects. Actually, that might not be a good idea. No, I'm not doing that. Yeah, that messed up the modifier stack. So I'm gonna I undid that. Guys, if you have any questions, I can answer them. So, yeah, this would be a great time to ask any questions. Yeah, so now this is working. So these modifiers are working fast. I think it's probably the remesh modifier slowing everything down. That's my feeling, at least. So maybe if I turn that up to 0.04 or 0.03 even. Oh, I don't know what's going on there. Huh. It's got smooth shading. But I don't want that. Or no, actually I do. Yeah. It's gotta be this voxel remesh shedding is slowing things down, so if I could just raise that temporarily, it would be okay, and then I can remember to set that for the render back to 0.02. Hopefully I don't forget. So I'm going to set all of these to 0.04. Yeah, that's the setting that is causing things to kind of break down. Remesh, all of them need to be 0.04. And now if I go to rendered, I think it's going to go faster. And yes, it seems like already through the steps, everything is. Just a little bit faint. Yeah. It's running better now. That's what the problem was. Of course, the mesh doesn't look as good, but for the render, I can always turn that back to how it was before. So, yeah, that looks pretty cool. And now I was saying if I wanted to change this to be a black color, I could do that. Still gets held up a little bit, but it's much more responsive than how it was behaving before. So I'm going to turn that to that kind of color. That is certainly interesting. I'm not sure about it, honestly. Oh, this one's still at 0.02. That's alright though. What do you guys think? Do you think I should leave this color at the black color, or somewhere in the middle, or all the way up? I'm thinking that I'm going to actually put it over here. Pretty happy with that. And the same thing for this one, I'll set it to material 001, just so I get some of that more complexity. Wow, what is going on here? Okay, something is not working. Oh. Oh, that's material 004. I'm putting a displacement texture on there, that I certainly don't want to do. There it goes. Okay. So now we got that. Certainly giving a cool effect, but I still feel like something's missing. And I think that would be, like, we could place something in the middle here. And I actually have got an idea. So I'm going to make a pyramid somehow. So I'm going to make a cube first, bring it on the x-axis, go into top view. Then what I'm going to do is just wireframe view, right click, then merge these vertices at the center. And yeah, I got a pyramid already. And so rotate that by 90. And I could just place that right in the center. And this is kind of going to be what draws the focus to the image. You'll see. So I'm going to bring that and place it as close to the center as I possibly could. And we're going to do some modifier stuff on here. So I'm going to scale that up, bring it up, and okay. So let's find out which ones I used. So I'm thinking triangulate, maybe. Wireframe. But no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to apply subdivide first. Simple. And then triangulate. Aha, that's interesting. And let's see, minimum vertices, what does that do? Okay. That's pretty cool. Not exactly what I was going for, but... Oh, wow. Okay. And I could play with this modifier. Now, bring it up even more. That's too much. Or, actually, that would work. And I could take down the thickness of the wireframe modifier. And then finally, well, first of all, I need the... Don't want to replace the original. And then I'm going to put the build modifier on. Set it to randomize. Change the start. And now I can just duplicate this again, scale it down ever so slightly. Set the inner one to just be just a straight emission texture, so that would be here. And I'll set that to be blue. Give it a 10 as a strength. Then this one I will give 2 materials. One will be just metal. Everything else should be good. And then the next one will be glass. And you will see where I'm going with this. So now let's just take a look and see what we got. Okay. Alright. Not exactly what I wanted, but it's getting there. That's not working correctly, so things have to be changed. Material offset should be, the panes should be glass, the window panes, and that's not happening. If I reverse this, does that fix it? Nope. Maybe turn the offset down to 0. That's not good. So I need the glass. I think if I set the offset to being the next one. Let's see if this changing this does anything. No, so it's not applying. Okay. So don't want to replace the original. But what does that do? Interesting. I don't want to do that. Just gonna try scrolling through this material offset. Oh, okay. Now things are starting to work. Okay, so the red is, okay, it's still the wrong part. I think I gotta go one more. There, no. No, it's, or is it the correct one? Let me see. Gotta zoom in. Can't really see. Oh, I think it's working. Yes, it's working. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to turn the transmission up. Oh wait, no. This is the... Yeah. I'm getting confused. And this one should be just the silver. And that should not be transparent. And metallic needs to be at 1. Yes, now that is looking better. And then for the windows, they need to be glass, no metallic, roughness down. Now things are working. Okay, great. But that is just too much, I think. Let me try scaling that down. Certainly interesting, but it's too busy, I think. Too much going on, so let me fix this and possibly change this to be brighter. This could be more of an orange. Yeah, I'm liking where this is going. And should I make that yellow? Not sure. Kind of like the green. I'm going to go with the green. And I'm actually going to take down the wireframe amount to be something like, let's see, do I want to triangulate? Yeah, I think I do. But I will bring up the build amount to be much higher. So I'm going to take that way up to sort of destroy most of it. Same thing with the middle. But I'll have enough available to kind of make it identifiable in a way. That's good. And this is looking really interesting. Kind of looks like sparks, which is kind of cool. Now I can bring up the thickness of the wires if I wanted to. Wow, that's way too thick. Maybe just 0.02. But maybe not, then again. Yeah, I think so. And I can change this, the inner one, to be more noticeable. And bring up the thickness. Nope, not the thickness, the less destructive to the overall geometry. And let's just see how it looks. Okay, I'm happy. I'm pretty happy with that. Now this one, I want to have more viewable. But I'm going to do an interesting twist on this one, and you'll see what I mean by that. So I'm going to bring up the amount. Something like that is good. And then what I'm going to do, which is really interesting, is I'm going to use the, which one is it called? It should be the displacement. And displacement, I just gotta find it. Displace. New, and for that I could just do a standard noise texture, should be good. And I want this to be very subtle. I don't want it to be too intense here, so kind of just want to make it look like it's a little more chaotic in a way, if that makes sense. And I'm going to bring up the roughness of the glass to something like 0.2 maybe would be good. And let's just take a look at that. That might be too much there. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it how it was. Not exactly happy with how it looked after that, so I'm not going to put that in. Yeah. Now there is something else I want to do. I think one more thing. And that is going to be with 2 cylinders. I just came up with the idea, kind of in my head. I'm going to get 2 curves, and they'll be just regular Bezier curves. Going to move it here, just kind of position it so that the end, kind of like wires are going into the structure and powering it up. It's just a concept. So let me move that down. And that will be moved on the x-axis, RZ9, RZ negative 90. And I want this to start outside the camera, so something like there. And same thing, along the other side, RZ 90. And again, that should start outside the camera. And in fact, it's not even visible, so that could be bought over here. Something like that should be okay. Now, just gotta apply more resolution, like 96. Always better to bring things higher. And yeah, let me find the option here, which is that I need to add some geometry to it. Something like that should be okay. Let me view through the camera. And yeah, I'm going to make it really wide. And then finally, after doing that, I'm going to convert this object, convert to mesh, and let's take a look at the polys. It's too much. I'm going to undo that. Oh boy, I hope it doesn't crash. Okay, it didn't. Let's save. Now is the time to save. Oh boy, it's not responding. Uh-oh. That's not good. I think I got an auto save though, but okay, there it goes. Let's just save that just in case something happens. So actually, instead of converting that, what I'm going to do is just decimate it a lot. Decimate. And I know it seems counterintuitive, but you'll see where I'm going with this. So build modifier. Build modifier is just awesome. It really is. You can do so much with it. Wow. And already I'm getting something pretty cool. Oh, and the build has to be randomized. Then I could subdivide that before the decimate, just to get some really crazy, just all sorts of geometry. Build has to come after though. Subdivide first. 1, 2. Oh, and scale all has to be applied. But that's too much. Remesh. Or no, solidify. Solidify. That looks kind of cool. And then I could put let's see, what do I want to do with this? Build it again, maybe? Randomize. Not liking that, so I'm going to do something else. Maybe now is the time for remeshing. But again, I got to be careful with this. Yes, I like that a lot. 0.01. 0.004. Too high. 0.008. Let's see what other modes there are here. Not gonna use that. Okay, so voxel seems like the best, but I'm not liking... Whoa, I accidentally... Okay, it's definitely gonna crash. Oh well, luckily I saved it. It is definitely gonna crash. They should have an option that lets you not do that by accident. No big deal, I'll open up a new file. Gotta exit out. There is no way that's gonna keep responding. Okay. Well, we saved everything, so let's just recover it and not do that again. Yeah, there it goes. We got everything back. Everything's all good. Think we do, at least. Do we? Let's see. Lights, cubes, Bezier curve. Looks like it might have disappeared for some strange reason. Let me try to find the last one we were on. If I can't find it, it's no big deal. I could just redo that. In fact, yeah, let's redo that. And then we're gonna get moving with the rest of this. So this is gonna be the last thing we do. So I'm gonna add a Bezier curve. So RX90. Move that down onto here, just like before. Go to the camera view and let's see how that looks. Again, want to have it kind of going up more, like that, and then just going to duplicate that, duplicate, and make sure that that is going inside. I'll view that from the camera. Everything looks good. Perfect, actually. But let me bring that down. And again here. There we go. And finally, save everything. Then convert it to a... Oh wait, before I do that, 48's a good resolution. Depth should be like that. Could be higher, but about there is pretty good. Finally, just gonna convert it again to a mesh. That went very quick this time. So, I believe we did remesh. Oh boy, I did it again. I did that again. But I got everything saved. No big deal. That is embarrassing. It's so tempting just to pull that the slider down so much, and I just completely forget that this is gonna make the program crash. And then boom, it crashes. So, yeah. I really apologize about that. There it goes. Got everything. Okay. So, as I was saying, we applied the remesh modifier, and this, I'm only going to type it in from now on, because I don't want it to crash again, because I'm going to wind up accidentally typing in something that I shouldn't, because it'll make it crash again. 0.003. Oh, don't want to do that. I think that this needs to be subdivided. So, subdivision surface. Now enable this. Still not getting anything, so more subdivisions. Oh, of course. Problem is, it's not converted. Right click, convert to mesh. There it goes. And now everything should work. Remesh. Almost did it there, but I didn't, luckily. Seems like I'm not getting any mesh out of this, and it could be just a subdivision thing. But actually, to be honest, I think I'm going to go with something else. So, I'm just going to take this, duplicate it, move it on the x-axis, delete everything there is, and just take one face. This is the last thing I'm doing. Very briefly, take that face and then R, Y, make it stand up, and then show you a cool trick here. So I'm going to select this pyramid, delete the whole thing, then extrude that. There we go, and then double click that, and then I'm gonna just boolean this, just like that. Separate it, scale that up a little bit more. Didn't work yet because it needs to go all the way through. And there we go. That's how Boolean operations work. Aha. Kind of like this. Can't see the top, but that's alright. Maybe inside I'll have it, actually. Whoops. There it goes. That's good. And let's view the render. So, wow, that is awesome. I don't really notice it much, but probably adds to the realism. Okay, that needs a separate material. That is great. Now, do I want that to be red or change the color? I am not really sure. Want it to be metallic, definitely. Roughness, I think I'll leave it. Bring down the brightness a bit, and yeah, that is what I have. So let's change the floor to be darker. Go back to the camera view and see what we can do with this. This is just the final adjustments. Wow, this is a really difficult decision to make. Do you think I should be going with the red or the blue? This is the red. This is the blue. Very difficult decision. I mean, I think the red is more interesting for sure, but let's see, what we got purple here, which is really kind of crazy and cool. Green. I am kind of liking the green, honestly, but then there's white, which is just kind of boring. I think I'm gonna go with this sort of blue. Kind of like that, actually. And for the floor, I want to turn that up a lot, the brightness. And I can bring the color to be a little different. But honestly, I think for the floor, a neutral white is best. Now, one thing that's been bothering me is these seem too dark, so I might raise the color just a little bit more. Something like this, I think, pretty much makes the scene here. So if there's anything I could edit, I could bring down this brightness in the middle. It's just a little bit too much. That's a bit better. And then I got the camera view that I can also turn on the depth of field effect. And for this one, I kind of want it to be focused on the center object. And let's just go into regular viewport mode. I could scale up the floor just so we don't go out of view. 35mm would be good. maybe I can actually bring this, another layer of this in, if my computer can handle it. And I think it can. Let's see how it looks. That might just be too much. Or maybe it's alright. Not really sure. Focal length is definitely too much. Now let me just give this whole area lighting. Because I want it to be good lighting outside of the camera view, which would be very important. And once this lighting's done, we can move on to compositing, and that will be the end after that. Almost perfect. Just gonna bring, let's see, should I get rid of these? Thinking I might get rid of this one on the top. And then what I will do is I can turn off the depth of field temporarily. Just to give a little more chaoticness to everything going on, which kind of makes things look cool. Let me bring the strength up, all the way up there. This could be 30,000. Alright. Now the two colors are really, this is just very, the composure of the image is pretty good. Overall, I still need to fix some things a little bit, so let me bring up the size of that just so it covers the whole entire, or maybe, instead of doing that, I'll just duplicate it. Yeah, and I can save that and then duplicate it. Something like this is fine, just to make sure everything's getting covered. Bring up the size, make it a square. This one can be even bored out. Okay, lighting's almost there. Too much lighting. There we go. And let's see without and with those lights, just to give a comparison. So this is with without. Definitely looks less boring with the lights in. So I'm gonna put them back. Oh, don't know why it crashed. But it is saved. So we're good. There it goes. Oh, I wanted 2, right? And I think I needed them to both be 50,000, so I have to redo that. This one should be good. View camera, just gonna double check that. Perfect lighting, I think. Now I can try it without the lights. See what we get. Just as a comparison. Now it looks a lot more boring. So I'm undoing that. And now let's check in again. See how it looks? And I am really happy with it. Could bring that down, the darkness a little bit. That is perfect. Maybe take that one down just a little bit more. Just doing some final adjustments here. Don't need that extra light in the corner there. And in fact, I'm gonna move this one down a little bit. Same thing here. Gonna move it down and see what we get now. Lighting is perfect. Okay, I don't think I have to change the lighting anymore. Alright. That's great. Okay, lighting's done. Now, one more thing is volumetric. And this is very simple. This is going to add some fog. Alright, so I'm going to add a cube that contains a volume. This will increase render times a lot, but it doesn't matter since it's just an image. How far does the camera see? Let's make it pretty big. Don't need much on the height. And I want it to go about this big. Encompass the lights, which would be cool. And don't need this. Yeah, so new shader, that would be principal volume. Let's view the camera and save everything before we get started with this. So, shader editor. Now we got rendering here. Okay, so that is way too strong. So density can be brought down. Oh, and it has to be set into the volume shader. There it goes, now it's working. Can't see a thing. It's too strong. Okay, this is gonna look really cool. Let's see, 0.2. Ugh, it crashed. But I saved it. Yeah, my computer is definitely has problems with this. So I apologize about this. I must get more RAM for my computer. 0.5 again. And view camera. In fact, to get things a little bit more responsive, I could perhaps turn down the step rate. Step rate, is it? Yeah, to like 4. And just try this again. Okay, and that should be here. Alright, now it's working. Hopefully no crashes. Hopefully. That is just too much. 0.02. Hard to say. Do I want it darker? I think I want it darker. 0.1. But you know, I'm not sure. 0.1. Maybe colored? 0.05. But I don't think I want it to be colored. I think I want it to be more subtle. And maybe in fact of absorption, just have volume scattering. Because I don't really want to absorb light. 0.1 again. I just want to scatter it. I can turn the volume bounces up, which will slow down render time even more, but that's alright. 0.05. 0.02. Wow, that is really dense. 0.001. Thinking something like that is pretty good. So I'm just gonna let this clear up for like a second and maybe compare it without it. And why is the... oh, of course, yeah. I was wondering why it was darker on the ground, but the volume is there, so it's gonna make it look darker. Oh wait, actually... oh. So yeah, that should just be set to volume. Then camera, and I'll do that one more time. So I'm gonna view the camera view, and then to hide it, I'll just hide it with this button. Yeah, it adds that extra edge to realism. I really like it, so I'm gonna leave it on. And one more thing maybe is add a cylinder in the center, and we'll fill it with we will fill it with smoke. I mean, not smoke. What's it called? Volumetrics. Something like that, and just like that. And we can give that a volumetric shader. Same thing as before. Volume scatter. This is just going to give a really cool effect. Or I could do volume emission, which would look interesting. Too much, and it should be blue too. Way too much, 0.1. I like that a lot. I like that, wow. I can make it narrow more. Just so it's kind of highlighting over the... kind of like a beam of light or something. But not so noticeable that it's distracting. Just crashed again. Let me get that opened again. Sorry about that. There it is. So yeah, gonna scale it down. bring in a 0.1, turn it to blue. And you know what? To give that a better texture, I'm going to mix that with scattering. So mix shader. That should be good. It's too much. 0.1. Okay. If I scale it up, how does that look? I feel like it's better if it's scaled up. But now it's just too intense, so. Can give it a slight green color. And yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that as it is. Without it. And then with. Okay, what is going on? Oh. GPU issue or something. That's alright. Let's just redo that. Turn off optics, maybe that'll fix everything. CUDA sometimes doesn't always work. Alright, doesn't want to work in the GPU. Not sure why. So let's just let that clear up in the CPU and just see what we got. And yeah, that looks great. Gonna render this out and do some compositing on it. Perhaps this is a bit too strong. I could just turn it to 0.05 and that down to 0.05 and that should be good. And I also want to have the GPU enabled. Hopefully it works. What else? Turn this back to 0.02. That was what I had to remember in the beginning. This one, probably just leave it. Doesn't have to really be changed. Because it's so small. But I can see how it looks. Anyway, actually it's fine. I'm gonna leave it. Let me just rotate this light around a little bit on the x-axis. View it in Eevee, just to view things really fast. And Eevee is not bad, actually. The quality. Not like cycles, but it gets you there. I'd like to add one more light. A small light. Kind of illuminate the roads just to catch the top of it. Not the roads, the buildings. Sorry about that. And just can preview that. Just to kind of catch everything. And I can bring up the strength. Whoa, what's going on there? $10,000. Okay, and that can go behind the camera. Sort of a backlight. Kind of make everything shine. Actually, even better. Even better. Let's have it pointed up more like this. Sorry about this video being so long. Just want to get through this here. Now if I don't have the area light, it's too strong. Kind of bring a green look to it, and that should be good. I don't think I need to add any more lighting. I think we got everything set up correctly. Let me just turn off the subdivisions for the ground, because I'm not going to be using it. Yeah. One more look. Everything looks fine. Loving the contrast of everything. Saving it. Now, let's just do a quick render at 50 samples. Not going to do 4K. Let's just do 1080p. And I'm going to set the tiles to be 256. And I will take any questions while this is rendering. It's the perfect time to ask anything. Viewport and render, that's all good. Simplify, I think that's okay. No motion blur, I don't want that. Oh, one more thing I almost forgot is to enable all of the render passes to use in compositing. And we will do the compositing tomorrow. But let's just see what we got. Come on, don't crash. Any questions, guys, I'll answer. And if this doesn't work, I'll have to figure out what's causing it not to. Yeah, and it's not working, so what I'm going to do is save it, exit, and restart it. That should fix everything. Okay. 48 samples, let's do. Everything else here is good. I don't want to filter any glossy. Or, actually, might reduce some of the noise. All samples are, passes are enabled. Render it. So here we get. Okay, it seems like it might actually start working, which would be great. And I'm using an RTX 2060, so it should, yes, it's working. Awesome. Okay. Yes. Great. Alright. Whoa, things are not looking the same though. Okay, I gotta change something. Something in the middle is off. No big deal. Is that because the modifiers are not applied? That is probably what it is. I'm going to duplicate that and then just apply all the modifiers. And then hide the one off screen, the other one. Same thing in the center. Duplicate that and apply all the modifiers. Must be a bug or something that caused that to happen. Not really sure. I'll bring that one off screen. Alright, try rendering it again. Just make sure everything's set up here. This should be 0.02. And I will be right back. Okay, so it's initializing still. But it's going. Computer's just chugging along. Oh crap, I realized I left subdivisions. For the floor, I left the subdivisions on for the render, so the geometry, there's much more going on than I realized. That's why it's so slow. 14 subdivision levels. Yikes. Well, see how this goes. Oh, well, guess that answers it. It seems like it's working. Yes, it is working. Just takes extra time. Center looks great. Lots of noise, but I can click. Just crashed. Yeah, it just crashed. That was crazy. The computer just turned dark and then boom, it crashed. So let me redo that. This time, I will just keep the subdivision off. It's too much. Especially for the GPU, with only 6 gigabytes of virtual memory. It just eats it up. Should be much quicker too. So yeah, I make these interesting videos where you guys can see how painful these crashes really are in when the software stops responding. Because it gets annoying after a while, but oh well. There it goes. Much quicker. Oh, but crazy. There is still a problem. It unapplied the modifiers, so let me just reapply that. Yes, so duplicate that, then just apply everything, and then hide the one with the modifiers off screen. Same thing in the center. Whoops. Duplicate that. I accidentally did the wrong one. This one is the right one. And that's good. So I will render that again. Sorry about that. Hopefully there's nothing I have to fix this time. So yeah, I'm just showing you everything, not editing anything out. I know a lot of people, like when they make these videos, these courses, they edit everything out, but I'm just showing you workflow logs basically, and you guys get to see my program crash a number of times, and yeah, yep, it happens. But yeah, it's gonna go. Okay, so it's computing. Okay, this might be it. Yes, it looks perfect in the center. Everything seems to be looking good. Do not crash on me now, Blender. Please do not crash. Okay, it seems like it's gonna go. It's definitely noisy, but this is just a preview render. For the final image, I will be denoising it a lot and doing lots of color grading, which I will be showing you guys either tomorrow or later on in the week. Got some of that glare from the lights catching everything, which I like. No crashes. Awesome. Let's go to the compositor and just briefly do some color balancing. Not going to do anything crazy tonight. That I'll do tomorrow. Disable the noise temporarily. Already. Doing that just improves things. Just too much brightness. I'm not liking the colors, so I'm gonna go with something like that. Just to take some of the edge off the pink a little bit more. This might be too much. 1.5. And then I can have fog glow. Whoa. Too much. Bring the threshold way up to 10. And I'm going to take the mix. And then the noise, turn it off and see what we get. Not half bad. The noise should go before that though. Alright, just adjusting things here, seeing what I can get. That is not bad. That's not bad at all. I can always bring in sunbeams. Or no, what's it called? Lens distortion. Just adding some basic stuff here. 102. Even. It's not adding it in. Not sure why. Oh, because I have a projector on. Huh. Wow, that's too much. 0.02. And then I can add, I got all these good render passes. I can add a lens or defocus. After that, turn off the denoise briefly to speed things up. Add the depth pass. And then I could find, was the camera set up properly? Probably not. No, it was not. Oh well. Probably give this one more render. I might just decrease this light a little bit to 250, and I'm gonna give this 200 samples, and we'll add this to focus, and then we'll call it a night. So let me save that project and just give it another render. And it's going quicker too, because we got that subdivision disabled. Initializing. Once it gets past these steps, it goes really quick. There it goes. Oh, 4 minutes. That's not too bad for having tons of volume and everything going on. So we'll just let that complete. Yeah, and I know some people probably don't watch these long videos. Um, but the kind of videos I make are long styled workflow logs, and I figure by showing them to you guys, you'll learn by watching them. I don't exactly make like on YouTube, like I don't always make like standard courses with the set time, set lecture. I kind of just go through, um, do my own thing, and then I show you guys what steps I'm doing, and I think that makes it more interesting because you'll learn you'll learn pretty cool stuff, and it's not just saying like, oh, let's use the displace modifier, and then the video's over, and then nothing else is gained. No, instead I like to do like videos where it's like, let's learn how to make um, multiple stuff at once, and it just kind of makes things more interesting. So yeah. So that's rendering, it's almost ready. I'm thinking that white floor is it's too bright, but I'll have to adjust that off camera because it's gonna be a lot of tweaking with the settings, and it's probably gonna be very boring to do that um, on stream, so yeah. But you can see how well that detail is being picked up, which I'm happy with. And it kind of draws you into here, which I like. Almost there, 1 more minute left. And if you right click and hold down on the mouse, you can see what your RGB levels are. Yeah. And you notice where over here there's a letter that says CM, that means color managed. Um, so basically it gets transformed, the colors get transformed from scene referred space to display referred, and color gets very technical, so I'm not really gonna go into the details of it on this video. But I can explain more about that if you're interested. It's very technical colors, believe it or not. There's a lot of science involved in the mathematics of colors. It's pretty interesting, but it gets very complex very fast. So this is almost done. Okay, and we have to fix some stuff in the compositor here, so let's turn off the denoise. Or leave that lens distortion on, but denoise off. And I know I had the camera set to the right focal length, so it should work. I'm not sure why I can't get it to be right. F-stop maybe? Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with this. Oh, use Z buffer. Okay. Now I'm getting what I want. So that max blur is going to be turned down. Getting a lot of artifacts. Is there a setting here to make it high quality? It is high quality. Maybe it needs denoised input. That could be what's going on. No. Mispass. Nope. Oh, preview. Okay, the preview mode was on. And it doesn't look as good. That's all it is. Alright, so let's bring that f-stop down to like 1. Max blur can be way up. And you see, you gotta be careful, because this is fake depth of field, so you get artifacts if you go too crazy with it. The advantage is it's fast though. So I could turn up the f-stop a little bit more. So like 8. And there's still a few artifacts. Maybe the depth of field is still too strong. I think it should be more subtle. So I'm going to turn the max blur to like 8. And hexagon for the bokeh. I think gamma correction helps. Or maybe not. Let me see if I'm going to disable this noise to speed things up. I think I'll be very subtle with it. Maybe not even have depth of field. And just have more lens distortion and stuff like that. Yeah, I am actually thinking I don't need the lens distortion. I mean the, what's it called? The defocus. Less glare. Don't need so much glare, so I'm going to add a mix shader. Just mix a little bit in. And I think that is where we are going to leave off today. This was certainly a very fun project. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. And before I go, I want to say thank you for watching. I really hope this video's helped you. Actually, let me enable the denoise here just to see this really quickly before I sign off. I like this image. I'm very happy with it so far. You can see everything going on. Just helps. And you know what? I'm gonna just add film grain now. It only takes about a couple minutes to add it in. Just to finalize things here for now. And I'll come back to this tomorrow or later in the week. So I'm just going to add a texture. New. And it's going to just be standard noise. Add a texture. Again, that could just be this one. Then we got the value. And all we have to do is just take that and if I remember correctly, I have to set up a certain setting. So I'm going to bring up my recent file and just copy that in. And I got some crazy node trees here. Texture lens, nope. Okay, so this is the film grain, and I have to gamma correct it. Just had to remember what I set it to. So, gamma, and then math 1 over 2.2 divided. Probably should group up these nodes, but never got around to it. And RGB to black and white. So that's RGB to black and white. Now, a lot of people do this effect in Photoshop. I'm just showing you guys how to add film grain in Blender instead, since it's doable. So that is gamma corrected, and then I just multiply it and then add it back together. So, right, I think? Yeah. So I'm going to add 2 mix nodes, set them to multiply, put them here. Next one is add, I think, yep. Add 0.3, nope, 0.3, and then this one, we have to add the image back to onto itself. Since you're multiplying, you're halving it, then you have to have it back together, basically, if that makes sense. And that kind of normalizes the range. I believe that's how it works. That's what I came up with, at least, to try to fix that issue. And this has to be set to the same as the previous node. If I'm correct, yeah. And am I getting the film grain? Doesn't seem like it. It's not connected. Alright. Not enough, I think. Yeah, I'm not seeing it adding in, so I'm going to turn it up to like 0.8. There it goes. There it is. And scale would be 16 by 9. Now I can always compare without the film grain and then with it. Something's not right with this. Oh. So the film grain goes on the bottom. And yeah, now it's fine, but it's just too strong. Let's get more of a better setting, maybe like 0.5. You could even use the color, or no, actually you shouldn't. Yeah. You can always add blur to the noise if you want, but I don't usually do this. I'll show you guys what it would look like. To the film grain. Probably not a good idea. Looks interesting though. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it how it was. And then bring it back to 0.5. And then I'm going to compare it how it looked before. A little bit darker, not much, so that's okay. Just kind of takes the edge off of it a little bit. And you know what? The dispersion is too high. This could be raised, that lowered. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers this whole thing. I am actually gonna sign off now. As I was saying, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really hope it helps. This was probably one of my longest videos I've done. Almost 3 hours long. So yeah, I was on here a long time, but yeah, I think I like doing these long style of videos. I think you guys, it gives a lot of information, I feel like, and I just want to help you guys learn this stuff better, because I know there's not many long courses on YouTube, and I certainly am always browsing for them, and I hope people put them out, but so yeah, that's why I'm putting out these long style videos. I think they're informative, and if they help you, yeah, that would be great. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. I do sell models on TurboSquid and CG Trader. Links are in the description. I also sell courses on Udemy, and I have that in the description. Yeah, so any comments, guys, ask me. I'll be available at any time to answer anything. Yeah, so I'm going to be signing off now. Thank you guys for watching. Goodbye.